If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
I have come here to chew bubble gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubble.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to BZ's Saloon, BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, where I am broadcasting from a free state, an actual free state in the Union. It's a great thing. It's a wonderful thing. I love the hell out of it. Best thing I ever did. Getting the hell out of California, always spell it with a K. Who am I? I am your conservative Sherpa. Not my conservative. I am your conservative Sherpa. Guiding you through the maelstrom of Demorat, leftist, globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. I do it with bombast. I do it with shenanigans. I do it with rings. I do it with people that listen to the show. Look at all the people in comments. We will all get to you. And I just want to remind you. Okay, what you're about to hear for the next 2 hours or so, I guaranteed I have more stuff. More stuff that I can shake a dead cat at. Even swirl it around with the tail. Okay, what you're going to hear for the next 2 hours consists of my opinion and my opinion only. And what am I doing? I'm doing the job that the American media maggots fundamentally refuse to do. I am foundationally changing America one leftist diaper doper baby Dobermans. Diaper doper. Hey, I screw that up all the time. We don't water our drinks just like we don't water our conversations because we are still serving stiff drinks in the saloon along with facts, history, logic, rationality, proportion, context, tradition, clarity, common sense for people like you and me. Politics, religion, crime, culture, race, sex, economics, science, law. We talk about it all here in the saloon where the speech is free, but the booze is not. And I have got a great show for you tonight. And so for all of you, let me see if I can find this, and then I can show you where we all are. This is where we all are right now, broadcasting. We are on Spreaker. We are on, later on you can hear us on Spreaker, Apple Podcasts. We're on Facebook Live. We're on Twitch, my X, at BZ Saloon, on Rumble, at the SHR Media Rumble channel and the SHR Media YouTube channel live, and also on KLRN Oklahoma. Boy, that dates me just a little bit. No one wants to date me or prune me either way. So anyway, thanks for everybody being here tonight. Jeremy Hansen is here so far. He's very kind. Look, he says, hello, sir. And he capitalizes, sir. What a wonderful guy. Sean Lewis, who has his own damn show, okay? Edge of Liberty. If you were on that precipice was too long. So he didn't want to call it Precipice of Liberty. He wanted to call it Edge of Liberty. And that's his show, Edge of Liberty. Right there on the precipice, not exactly going over, but he can see it from there. Also, Lost Wanderer is in the room. Also, Licky Labinson. Hey, motherfuckers. Welcome to you and to JEWF. Oh, what the holy... Okay, I'll just pretend like I didn't see it because otherwise I won't be able to put up with the... Oh my God, put up with the pressure. The pressure is on. The pressure is on. The pressure is on. I wonder who the pressure is on these days. So I'm kind of curious. You ever take a moment these days to kind of stop and ponder, to cogitate a little bit, a little introspection, a little self-examination? And in doing so, do you ever ask yourself the question, wait a minute, how did we get here? Because asking that question is not really too terribly far from doing something that the Lost Wanderer does, trying to envision an infinite universe. Okay, so try wrapping your head around that. Let's say the universe only goes this far, and then all of a sudden there's a brick wall. And then what's beyond that brick wall? So how did we get there? Well, it didn't happen overnight. And I am a student of history. And I know predominantly how we got here. I would say it happened over the course of about the past 80 years, from essentially the end of World War II, the Greatest Generation, the Marshall Plan, from Eisenhower. And for those of you not in the know, you're going to have to look this shit up. Some of the names, James Jesus Angleton, from Allen Dulles, and all points in between. Involving accumulated power, expanding government, little to zero government monitoring, almost none, indifference, distraction, bread and circuses, closed curtains, absolute opacity, and a huge damn slathering of kabuki theater of the absurd. And then because of the confluence of events, the Demorats hadn't anticipated at all, that is to say 2016, and the absolute demolishment of Hillary Clinton. I'm going to make up an assload of words tonight. I just sense this coming, where she was certain she was the best, the next guaranteed big thing. The absolute worst scenario occurred. She lost. No one could conjure that. How the hell did that happen? To Donald John Trump, OMB, Orange Man Bad, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head. How could that possibly have occurred? So literally seconds after that, the Demorats became completely untethered. And they've only gotten worse, much worse. So tonight, the theme of the show, by the way, it is OMG. It is March. It is Thursday, March 6th already, 2025. How did we ever get through January, through February? Let's see, it tried to catch me. And then we're in March already in 2025. That in and of itself is kind of nuts. So the Demorats, we're going to talk tonight about the Demorats. They're nuts. Europe, they're nuts. Some kind of bad stories. And then, please, God, please, if there is a God, let me get to happy stories, because I've got so damn many of them. Ooh, beer nights. But the cool thing about this is that ever since the show has kind of been technologically upgraded after I exited California, always spelled with a K, and I landed in a free state, North Idaho, where I am right now, that technology has allowed me to explore things that heretofore I've been primarily unable to present in a way that was satisfactory, that was pretty much okay to me. And now all I do is simply present the information that I've gathered and allow articles and photos and graphics and that kind of stuff that I found to buttress all my points and my issues and my articles. I have never made things up. With the internet at my phalanges, I don't have to make anything up. I simply grab all the salient little articles that I can find, the important graphics, and let the Demorats left, what I call the DLG, the Demorats leftists and globalists, speak for themselves in their own words. That's best. Their own videos. Would you suspect that I may have a few of those tonight? As we've seen, and again, I will illustrate tonight, the Demorats are completely unhinged. Man, they are lost. They are blathering, babbling baboons, which is an actual insult to baboons. So sorry, dudes and dudettes. There isn't one positive thing that they can say about America. Because if they do, they, as far as they're concerned, are tacitly admitting that whatever President Trump is doing is working. No bueno. Can't go. Won't go there. And trust me, Demorats will never, ever, ever accede or ascribe anything positive, any positive accomplishment to Donald John Trump. That's not going to happen. And they don't care who has to die behind that. And how nuts and how crazy is insane is that? Because now it's not just anathema. I mean, President Trump obviously lives in their heads 24/7, but it's in their DNA now. Their deoxyribonucleic acid. How did I ever remember that? That's how deep the derangedness, new word there, goes. Way deep, very deep. Because nowhere was this best illustrated than President Trump's address to Congress just 2 days ago, Tuesday, March 4th. Let me stop for a second. Let's catch up with the comments here. Kabuki Theater. It's a good one. Mission Ready Men is here. Good to see you. Big E in the house. Acknowledgement for Big E. Big E is an important guy, by the way. Stop. I told you, stop right there. Let's go over here. I usually do this in the promos, but Big E is this guy right here, Mission Ready Men. Okay. And in promos, when I go there, I also show that, well, he is on the SHR Media Network. He is on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 a.m. Pacific. He's an AM kind of guy, 11 a.m. Central and noon Eastern. Okay, so I hope you guys have that. And I haven't shown this in a long time. You can get shirts from him. Okay, Fat Guy got a shirt right here from Seven Armors, and you can too. So the people that I talk about are great people, and they are ones that I promo. So mentioned E in the comments, so I had to make sure that I did that as well. And so the little kids that were there in the chamber on Tuesday they behaved like not even adolescents. They behaved like infants. With little paddle signs, pink pussy dresses, yelling and screaming, no applause anywhere at any time, except for the weirdest damn thing. Except when Elizabeth Warren was called Pocahontas by Trump, and she applauded for what? I never figured this out. She applauded for what? Herself? Being called Pocahontas? I don't get that. Then they came out with the videos, and we're going to get to those. Don't think that I'm going to ignore them because, oh, God, no, I'm not going to ignore them. Not tonight. I'll show you those. Plus, if you didn't think there was an original predicating video from which they thieved, I have that too. So just beware. The rest of this show are going to have some F and S words, and they're probably going to have a word played by somebody else that not a lot of people enjoy. And like I say, caution. There are some bad words in there, but as per normal, I primarily don't give a shit about that stuff because they're just words. You'll see the circumstances. You'll get it. You'll grok that concept. I trust you. Because these assholes can't clap for a little kid with cancer getting some wishes made true. They can't applaud for having snagged the terrorist responsible for killing our beloved soldiers pulling out of Afghanistan. They can't applaud for survivors having their loved ones acknowledged for giving up their lives for the United States of America. They can't applaud for a guy getting an appointment to West Point. They can't applaud for the border being closed. Doge looking to actually save some of our hard-earned American dollars. You can't find it within yourself to applaud the good things, and there are great things that are happening in the United States right now. No, none of them could. It was all prearranged, just like the kerfuffle with the poor Al Green, the black Al Green, the elderly Al Green, the infirm Al Green with the cane being unceremoniously kicked out of Congress by the evil racist Republicans. Not like that shit was scripted or anything. The once united American media maggots are now sundering on the Demorats. Okay, so it's time for this. Let's pull this up. I believe I have it somewhere. Here we go. From Politico, insider poll, the Demorat Party has lost its way. From the Wall Street Journal, Demorats in disarray as Trump pushes through agenda. New York Times, we have no coherent message. Demorats struggle to oppose Trump. So even, this is glorious, this is grand, even James Carville said, I dedicated the best years of my fucking life to this party only to see it taken over by a bunch of stupid motherfuckers. Everything's gone to shit. And you know what, Jimmy, you're right. That's quite accurate. He nailed it because he has historical perspective. He doesn't have what I call historical Alzheimer's. I have Alzheimer's. I'm getting dementia, but I don't yet have historical Alzheimer's. I still remember some crazy stuff. Of course, when the Demorats were not completely psychotic, paranoid, irrational, bughouse, and batshit crazy like they are now. Now, also, I got to give kudos where kudos are deserved. I listened to Ricky Robinson this morning at KLRN. Damn it, Jim, I don't have a KLRN logo. I told you I got to get one of those. Son of a bitch. Well, he brought up an interesting point that I have brought up before, and I'm glad to see that other people who are conservatives and or conservative/libertarians or are what I call, I'm kind of a little, there we go. I actually did it right. Look, little L libertarians like me, because I don't believe in open borders and hot and cold running drugs. But it's good to see that all the people that are on SHR, et cetera, are all getting together and making a point that we can never afford to forget. And that's it. All right. We took a victory lap with Trump's win. Yeah, who wouldn't? We took a victory lap or 2 or 3 or 4 with Tuesday's speech. And obviously, we were laughing like bastardos over the risible antics displayed by Demorats afterwards because, it goes back to the old thing. You can't write this. Yeah, they're morons. They are being run by the far left contingent of the party. Most everything that they've embraced is just, well, let's just say I have no problem saying it. It's fundamentally evil at its core. Evil, big E. The movie, and to watch, Jake Gyllenhaal. Big Evil. Why are you named Big Evil? Because my evil is big. That's the Demorat Party. It is literally good versus evil. So, kind of with that in mind, like Rick, something similar to what Rick Robinson said this morning is, okay, we can point, we can laugh, we can make silly jokes and comments, but we all got to remember that deleterious Mr. Murphy and his law, because he can parachute from above and land right in our little pristine mess kit at any moment, at any time. Because if there's one thing that life has taught me, capital L, life, it's that shit happens and that things are cyclical, whether we want them to be or not. And then, as Rick stated, essentially, and I absolutely have to emphasize here, and I hope all conservatives emphasize this, emphasizingly, with emphasis. We can never afford to become complacent for any reason at all. Nothing anymore can be taken at face value. We can't count on much of anything except that we got to keep our loins continuously girded for battle, for war. We need to start planning now to kick and claw into the 2026 midterms next year. We should be planning for that crap right now. We got to be prepared with veins between our teeth as we kick and claw and plot for presidential elections in 2028. Oh, we just got through with that. You cannot afford to be complacent. Trust me, Demorats, leftists, and globalists are doing that shit right now. Somebody is guaranteed behind the scenes. Yeah, okay. They appear to be right now kind of in disarray and rudderless. They appear to be forcefully guided by the worst of themselves, essentially all the little lugubrious leftists. But if there's one thing that you and I both know that Demorats and leftists do, it's discover coalition around themselves. They know how to circle the wagons better than almost anybody else. Luckily, this may take a while at this point, but don't think that they're not looking down the road, planning for 26, down the road, planning for 28. Oh, hell yeah. They haven't been this fragmented in a long time. That's a given. And it's going to take a while for them to discover just what they are for as opposed to what they are against. Because they're discovering, it's really tough to figure out what you're for, but it's easy to oppose anything with a little black paddle, and you turn it around and says some stupid shit on the other end. So in the meantime, they all gnash their teeth and wail and act stupid. Republicans should be whipping up even more foam, more lather, and smashing the throttle, kids, all throttle, no brake. So simultaneously as the warmongers and the war hawks in the U.S. are moaning and wailing about Ukraine and how we sabotaged, little winky dude, the EU is going off the rails, going excessively over the top, advocating for war. No, not kidding. Let's see if I have some of this stuff. Oh, I forgot to put this up. Where the hell are you when John Fetterman, who had a stroke and went into Walter Reed Hospital because he had at some point some suicidal ideations, he comes out and he's the moderately restrained aspect of the current Demorats right now. As in, what the fuck? Welcome over in Rumble Chat, Whiskey Dude and the Alaskan. Good to see you guys over there. So Fetterman writes yesterday, a sad cavalcade of self-owns and unhinged petulance. Well, yeah, it only makes Trump look more presidential and restrained. What the hell? This guy is saying that. Well, the Demorats are stupid. Don't count them out. But then there's this. President of France, Emmanuel Macron. Let's try it again. Emmanuel Macron, that guy, addressed all Europeans to prepare for war with Russia. German Foreign Minister Baerbock gave an impassioned speech to prepare Germans for war with Russia. These fuckers are saber rattling on the same continent, you stupid motherfuckers, with Russia. OMB. I mean, it is TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. If it was anybody else, this predominantly, I'm suggesting, wouldn't be an issue. I'm not quite there yet. A guy wrote, let me see if I have this. I don't have it, but I'm going to read it. Demorats can't continue on the 80-20 track, and Europe can't continue on the 80-20 track. So this guy, and I think I got this from Sean, Paul Brislin, wrote, as a German, I just want to get this straight. The entire Western world wants us to build up a huge army, march through Poland, and fight the Russians if necessary. Just writing it down so there are no misunderstandings in the future. Does that sound a little similar? So like I say, Macron tells the French, hey, get ready for war. Baerbock says, get ready for war. And he says, start mobilizing now. Don't wait for the formation of the incoming Merz government, German government, in April. And here we go. Finally, let me see if I can find this. Okay, here we go. This is from the Financial Times. Said Europe has got to trim its welfare state to build a warfare state. Can you imagine? Yeah. Oh, that's going to play well. That's really going to play well. Since the Marshall Plan, USAID, and the American taxpayer has we have trained Europe into laziness, complacency, and puerile little anger when they discover they may no longer be fed just so. Because as all those EU nations called us stupid barbarians, idiots who didn't have the societal safety nets and entitlement goodies that they had, they were able to wag their little fingers at us and ridicule us whilst simultaneously intentionally failing to mention that the great and free healthcare benefits and so on, they're all funded by you and me. Because Ukraine, Europe, the UK, Canada, the EU, NATO are all gobsmacked that the free cheese US ride may be winding down. How do people expect us to react, the United States and us in the US, all across the fruited plain, the United Snakes of America, when we discover large, outlawed, all over, that our hard-earned American taxpayer dollars have been used to fund programs, institutions, organizations, agencies, NGOs, foreign governments, and our own government to work completely against us, the American people. And there is so much more to be revealed. It's not even 2 months into President Trump's presidency. It's not even 2 months. Okay. So apparently, what should we do? We should applaud. We should roll into the fetal position. We should lick more boots. We should limber up and just bend over some more, pulling our butt cheeks further apart. Can I have another, sir? Demand no lube. Better yet, just ignore everything. keep working hard and paying all our taxes with no questions whatsoever, because that's what's expected of us. Us, you, me, in the United States. That paradigm, thankfully, is pretty much, I hope, over and done for at least the next 4 years. Why can't these oppressive, freedom-killing, censorship-loving, war hawk nations understand that the American taxpayers are mostly done with having our necks bled while they're trying to play some kind of a little careful dance to make sure they don't bleed the hosts, us, too much, because you don't want to kill the pig. So what I have a suggestion. Oh my God, comments are packing up. I will get to your comments. I swear to God. And I might be a little bit over for the break because my soliloquy doesn't have that much longer to go. I got a suggestion, like I say. How about these greedy, unappreciative, lazy, boastful fucks learn to fend for themselves? And what do they think? What do they think is going to happen when Gazprom turns off the fuel nozzle into Europe from Russia? Putin doesn't even have to send one munition. All he needs to do is just, oh, sorry. Looks like you're going to have to get your fuel someplace else. Demorats are nuts. Europe is nuts. This is just the beginning. And conservatives and Republicans and conservatarians like me, we got to absolutely keep our eye on the ball, on the prize, all throttle, no brakes, and prepare for the 2026 midterms next year, 28 presidential election. 2 years after that, no complacency, all focus, hard edges. That's got to be us. You know, you'd think that I am not my dad. In many ways, I am my dad. But you'd think that as I get older, as I've gotten older, like my dad, he passed away at 88. I'm shocked that I'm still here at 75. That's fucking gobsmacked. That I would be more sympathetic. I would be festooned with more empathy, more understanding of everything in my dotage. But the reverse is true. I am more strident. I am more insistent, more unsympathetic than ever before. None of this, to quote leftists, is sustainable. None of it. Nunnavit. So I'm not stopping. I'm not relenting. And I refuse to be overcome with what I guess they would call some kind of a mantle of fear. Damn it, Jim, you were talking, and you should be paying attention to stuff, because stuff is going to happen here in just a moment. My producer was not paying attention, and he wants a raise. NGH, not going to happen. So like I say, I'm not stopping. I'm not relenting. I'm not going to be draped with a mantle of fear that Demorats, leftists, and globalists want to spread all over. And they want to throw it all over the world. Remember, fear creates these things. Fear creates submission, complacency, and moreover, compliance. All right? That is all intentional. That is plotted. That is planned. And I'm buying none of it.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Come listen to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. Live on select and exclusive Tuesday and Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central, and 8 p.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Rumble channel, SHR Media YouTube channel, X, Twitch, Spreaker, and wherever great conservative podcasts are found. BZ, your conservative Sherpa, guides you through the maelstrom of Democrat, leftist, and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. Raised as a free-range child with dirt, stains, mud, and freedom, BZ broadcasts from North Idaho, comfortably surrounded by actual normal people. Jump into our plush, sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room on rumble.com. Click on live chat to join. Now, with 37% more umbrage and 19% more bulbosity than previous shows, featuring delicious Liberty additives for the best in late-night conservatarian talk radio. BZ reminds you that with great beard comes great responsibility. No chinchillas were harmed, embarrassed, fat-shamed, or the focus of any sarcasm whatsoever in the making of this ad.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here's Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Hey fellas, are you mission ready? Coming in November to SHR Media. By way of Big E Jackson, you need to check out Mission Ready Men. It's a show that equips you to navigate our society's challenges from a biblical perspective with courage and conviction. Tune into Mission Ready Men as we examine our culture through the prism of biblical truths, teachings, and how to apply them in our daily lives. Prepare to step up, stand out, and step into your role as a man, as ordained by God. That's Mission Ready Men, hosted by Earl Jackson, coming this November on the SHR Media Network. And get mission ready.
Want to make an immediate difference in the life of a critically ill child? You have the ability to do that right now. Make a donation to Dream Makers for Life, the organization that restores dreams to seriously ill children and their families. You can sponsor a dream pack for a child, which contains a clear PVC backpack, a dry erase board adventure coloring book, a journal, and dry erase markers to inspire a critically ill child to envision a future adventure and hope. Want to become a dream maker for life yourself? Go to dreamforlife.org. That's dreamforlife.org. Help a child. Help a family. There is always hope.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back, boys and girls. Everybody. First half hour down the drain. Down the can on a Thursday night. It is March the 6th, the year of our Lord 2025, and I thank you very kindly for being here tonight. Please subscribe to the channel. You'll see some things running along the bottom down there. And as a matter of fact, now that I'm thinking about it, let's run this by. I know nobody's going to call. You never do. I get it. I get that concept, but I'm just going to put it down there just for the hell of it for right now. So like I say, the theme of the program tonight is Democrats are nuts. Europe is nuts. Please, God, please let me get to happy stories because I've got so much other stuff to play. Let me put this up right now. I came across some of the strangest things on the internet, and this is a little bit of history. And then I'm going to go to something really wacky, and maybe this will get me in trouble after this one. Point in the right direction, would you, damn it? This next one might get me in a little trouble. This is history, and I kind of enjoy history. I didn't know this.
He was the admiral. He was basically the head honcho in Japan. Pretty funny story. I never looked up what happened to him. When the United States occupied Japan, they went to arrest all those leaders. Mm-hmm. He tried to kill himself. He tried to shoot himself in the heart, and he missed.
They'll do that.
Yeah,
you got to get them quick.
You got to get the Japanese quick. They're going for it. They're going for the button. He tried to shoot himself in the heart. He missed. He was like laying there, and his quotes like, "Everything we did was justified." You and then he lived, and they were like, "You're going to jail." The United States resuscitated him just to hang him.
Did they really?
Yeah.
They dishonored him.
He was in jail for a while, and he had to get new teeth, dentures, while he was in prison. And the American dentist who gave it to him carved "Remember Pearl Harbor" into the back of his teeth.
So he could lick it and feel it?
Yeah. But it was in Morse code.
He probably knew Morse code. If he was an admiral of the Navy, imagine the first time going, huh?
You can't write that stuff. History is a little bizarre as far as I'm concerned. Then there was this. Now, for those of you faint of heart, I'm going to be poking fun at people, but once you understand who this shit stick is, I think you'll enjoy it. Let's turn this on. Here we go.
Arabian child, met at Toronto, Canada, and I am a shocked and appalled by a president of the United States of America, Donald Trump, talk about the annexation of Canada. This is unacceptable. As a man, we will protect Toronto with a fight to the death, using an Uber Eat driver as a restaurant defense. Bike lane will become trenches, and we will use the snowballs and the chicken balls to fight off the invader. Justin Trudeau has risen as a prime minister, so I have begun a discussion with a dog and a cat about I create an alliance with a furry animal.
Okay. But BZ, why are you doing this? Well, because Canada is such a great place, right? So who is this individual? Olivia Chow. She's a national asset. She's a communist Chinese, an unrepentant commie from China that Canada loves and voted for and inserted as mayor of Toronto. There's your loving Canada. So if you're wondering, oh, BZ, you're so terrible. No, I'm not terrible. I just play the stuff that I want to. And actually, you got to admit, that was funny as fuck. Now, and fuck is pretty funny. I shouldn't have to tell you that. Now, everybody has played this video. I'm sure you've seen it already of dancing people. But perhaps you wonder, where did this come from? BZ, where did this come from? And then compare the two and tell me who did it best.
Yeah. I was missing the action like Christian too. Back letting loose like a nigga had to pull. I'm a god in Memphis, who bigger than me? Shit that they did, I did it 16. He flexing this money, we know that he broke. Digging her mouth and at least throw coke. Keep pressed by the girl that's fucking the city. He tender. We call him Diddy. I'm so beaten.
So this is their inspiration. This is what I want you to understand. That's the inspiration. So let's go to the actual one right now. It's really tall. Excuse me. It's really small. So let's see if I can put it on the stage here and then manage to play it. Because here's the Demorats' interpretation of that prior video. Go. Damn, that's good. Punchy. It's really punchy. Right? What? It's not really punchy? Speaking of punchy, so Punchy Al Green gets censured. And you and I both know that in the Senate, the House, censure doesn't mean a damn thing. And people clutch their little pearlies and, oh, you're going to get censored. No one gives a shit. But because they're Demorats, this is also what they had to do as well.
On this vote, the yeas are 224. The nays are 198, with 2 answering present. The resolution is adopted. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
Wait for it.
The House will come to order. The House will come to order. Shh.
Yeah, they're going to shh.
Will Representative Green present himself to the well?
Oh, here's where we slap you. Wait a minute. That cane has not touched the ground.
By its adoption of House Resolution 189, the House has resolved.
Does he really
that
need that
Representative
cane?
Al Green be censured. That Representative Al Green forthwith present himself in the well of the House of Representatives for the pronouncement of censure. And that Representative Al Green be censured with public reading of this resolution by the Speaker.
Okay, you guys may not know, but they're singing We Shall Overcome. All right. Maybe I haven't told you guys this. I was a little shit stick leftist in the 60s, and I sang We Shall Overcome on Campi. And that's back when leftists actually believed in free speech. Number one, these elderly codgers are so way out past college right now, they can't sing, and they certainly don't support free speech. But that's the state of the art, if you will, in terms of leftists and Demorats right now. Well, okay, Al Green, not the singer, got censured. He got ejected. What happened under Biden? Anybody remember a Gold Star dad got kicked out of the State of the Union speech? That dude is absolutely nothing like Al Green at all. And who voted, by the way? This is going to be really interesting because I wonder who's going to get their asses primaried next year. These are the 10 Demorats who voted to censure Al Green. There's 6 of them right there. I'm surprised. Amy Barra, California. Jim Costa, California. 2 California right there. That's pretty weird. And then those are the remaining 4 for censure. And then this happened today. Gavin Newsom decided that he was going to throw his support against trans athletes in women's sport. So progressives, Newsom, split. Well, who is Newsom? He's a fucking reptilian with a human mask that he wears sometimes if he can manage to tuck it under his hair gel. That's who Newsom truly is. And of course, we all knew the paddles were going to work like crazy because they certainly worked well during the Third Reich. I mean, facts and evidence as far as we're concerned. And the Demorats want to quantify themselves as serious individuals? No, of course they weren't. They decided that they were going to double down on absolute insanity. And I said, evil. It's like evil. Stop. Producer, go back. Now turn on the sound. There we go. Mr. Producer, hit it.
But I think this was a lesson in finding one thing that you let yourself feel. And I let myself feel joy about DJ. And I hope he's alive for another, 95 years, right? And I hope he lives.
Don't politicize this kid and then go ahead and politicize it.
The life he wants to live. He wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do. And maybe when you have childhood cancer, that crystallizes for you. And I hope he has a long life as a law enforcement officer. But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump's supporters.
They actually went ahead and said that. How low can you go? How much more despicable can you be? Well, who are we talking about? This kid right here.
Craziest part, because my mom bathes me and my brothers all together, and out of nowhere I locked up, and then my dad was calling my name, and I started going to the slow thing, and he said, "Stop playing with me," and I then I started to act, I ain't gonna lie, I started to act slow, and then as soon as he said that, we was speeding all the way, running lights, going to the hospital, and then next thing you know, I was seizing on the table. They said, "No, we gonna have to go in his brain tonight." Ever since then, I had 13 brain surgeries, and that's how many times my personality has changed. And that's something that you don't hear from a terminally ill child. They had 5 months to live. I'm going to keep on going until my gas tanks run out. And that's when God calls you home. You never know when God's going to call you home. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my dad. I know he's pretty proud of me, and I'm pretty proud of him too. And I'd like to thank President Trump, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here today.
How incredibly self-aware is this kid? More self-aware than 98% of those people down on the floor that refuse to applaud for this kid. How reprehensible is that? The Demorats are nuts. Europe is nuts. And then we go here. So, sanctuary mayors, Eric Adams, New York, Michelle Wu, that piece of trash from Boston, Johnson of Denver, Johnson of Chicago. So they're testifying in front of Congress. So I remind everyone, Chicago is where Trenda Agua began, essentially, in 23. And Denver, they took over apartments. And everybody in the American media maggot side, no, that's false. That's fake. That's not true. Oh, it was true as hell. And then New York City was housing illegal immigrants. I can't think of the name of this massively wonderful, huge hotel that was kind of an elite landmark in the city. Now they're selling it because it's been trashed and the original owners are not interested in a restoration. And that's not kidding. That's not funny. And so what did just a little wee bit of this House Oversight Committee and Jim Jordan.
This is Mr. Jordan from Ohio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mayor Johnston, who's Abraham Gonzalez?
Wait.
Thank you, Congressman. He is a individual that was released from the county jail on Friday in the city and county of Denver.
That's all you know about him?
I do know that he was facing charges that the
Venezuelan gang member arrested by Border Patrol on September 20th, 2023, released into the country by the Biden administration. A few months later, he's arrested in your city, charged with aggravated assault. On March 11th,
it doesn't stop there, of course.
2024, he's charged with motor vehicle theft, stole a car, and then on March 20th, 2024, Mr. Gonzalez is charged with felony menacing. 6 days after that last charge, I send you a detainer, which includes an administrative warrant. Basically, it says if you're going to release this bad guy, this gang member who allegedly stole a car, menaced people, and assaulted people, give us a 48-hour heads up. Is that right? That refresh your memory?
I do know about the detainer request. I do know that we provided a notification of release.
What kind of notice did you give ICE when you released him?
We gave him notification. I'm not sure how long in advance it was. I do know that
1 hour.
I do know that there was
1 hour notice, and you released him 5 days ago, right?
Okay, stop. How can you justify any of this behavior? This is all intentional. Everything the Biden administration did, not by Biden, but the people that were puppeting him in the background, because he was not a viable, credible human being at the time. He was addled. Everyone knew it. That was one of the biggest political scandals in the history of politics. That the Demorats and the American media maggots propped up an empty suit like a bad movie that we've seen any number of times that we used to laugh at because it was funny, but that shit for 4 years, es no bueno. Not funny at all. Wasn't packed with laughter. I didn't have a good time. Nobody had a good time. So anything and everything that was done during that administration, trust me, it was done with absolute intent. There's no way to think otherwise. Now I'm going to go back to Europe just for a second. This is the one that I wanted to show. If this isn't just a wee bit of irony in terms of Europe is nuts. Where have we seen this before? This kind of crap is crazy. And then you have something like this, where through the BBC, this is an article saying that the U.S. is destroying the world order. Oh, this from the Ukrainian ambassador to the UK, where, if you remember, do you remember, children, that during the sit down with Trump, Zelensky called Vice President Vance Suka a bitch? I don't have it here. Sean played it. Almost anybody and everybody on SHR played it. And the ambassador in the room, the female ambassador, is holding her head in her hands going, oh, fuck. Why did you have to do that and go there? So they think we're nuts because we don't want war. Everything is ass backwards. And how does that happen? How does that go? How does that occur? Well, guess what? Would it shock you to know that the tack has changed once again?
Нам відомо, що росіяни не змінили своїх позицій та вимог щодо України. Вони будуть вимагати скорочення нашої армії, будуть хотіти юридичну відмову від наших територій, також суттєвої політичної деформації України. З посла...
Okay, the little black uniform wearing bastard said basically, you know, I was open to negotiations with Russia. I reversed my position. I don't want to talk. I'm not going to talk to Russia. Now, he issued an apology to Trump, which was an apology, not an apology, but made it clear that his stance is not going to change. He doesn't want to discuss anything with Russians. Okay. Logic. Can we have logic step into the room just for a moment? Do you possibly think that Putin is going to negotiate with the EU? Do you think Putin is going to negotiate with Brussels? Do you think Putin is going to negotiate with Ukraine? Well, Ukraine doesn't want to talk to him, so it must be the EU that's going to talk to him, right? Because they're talking big. They've got massive sabers in which they're rattling almost simultaneously. But Ukraine, who needs to talk to Russia, has said they're not going to talk to Russia. I think I have enough time to play this. So, what doesn't the U.S. understand about Ukraine? Go.
Things that Americans don't understand about Russian-Ukrainian conflict. This is actually very sad. People really don't get it. They physically cannot imagine it. Many people ask me what I'm thinking in my DMs and why I'm not making videos about it. That's going to be one and only video. I think situation in Ukraine has much bigger purpose than we all know or think. And what Americans don't realize about Ukrainian people and Ukrainian mentality is the level of corruption. Let me try to explain you the level of corruption. When it all started, a lot of people ended up on the streets, right? Had to relocate, had to evacuate. So a lot of people were donating money and donating clothes, stuff, medical supplies, everything. And everything was shipped to Ukraine. I have a lot of friends that live in Ukraine, and everything I say, it's from their words, from different people, live witnesses that are there. First of all, none of them got even a little bit of any kinds of supplies that are shipped from the United States, not even used clothes. And moreover, in a couple of months...
Well, wait a minute. Stop right there. What the hell happened? Are you saying you didn't get our stuff? Well, no, it's Ukraine. They're little angels. This couldn't have happened. I don't believe it.
Were shipped. They appeared in local supermarkets. They were selling bundles of used clothes, and everything that was donated from the United States was sold in supermarkets. And later on, my other friend discovered that.
Okay, stop. My hard-earned taxpayer dollars, American taxpayer dollars, funded this shit. You have been mushroomed, you've been kept in the dark, and fed crap.
That the trucks that were transporting the aid, they were stopped on the borders of the entry to the city and just redirected and taken to some place where they would package everything and prepare everything to sell it.
So let me make a comparison. Would that be similar to sending aid to Idi Amin and expecting it to go out to his people? And the answer is, yeah, if you're that fucking stupid, this is what occurs. Here's somebody, wrong way, let's go this way. Here's somebody telling you what actually occurred in Ukraine. And with USAID. And are you done with this shit yet? Are you tired of this yet?
Imagine if people are reselling used clothes, what are they doing with all the weapons that are given? All the money that are given? I don't think anything America sends actually reaching Ukraine. I think Russia is pretty calm about what's going on because they know that these weapons will never actually reach Russia. All these weapons are reaching United States because who is buying the weapons are coming back to the United States with these weapons because its borders are open or were open or they're already here. And that's the scariest part that Americans don't understand. I don't know if anybody of you can ever imagine the level of corruption that's going on there.
Did you just understand what she said? The weapons that we've been sending to Ukraine, the equipment is being resold in supermarkets, on the streets, and weapons, she's hypothesizing, are coming back through the U.S. border, apparently through Mexico, perhaps through Canada. And is it possible that these weapons could be used against us? Our weapons against us. Have we seen that scenario before?
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Edge of Liberty. Join me right here on the SHR Media Network every Monday and Friday, 12 on the Pacific, 3 on the East Coast. On this show, we'll discuss news, politics, the government, how cranky we are about the government, and more. If you want to hear hard talk, good interviews, sarcasm, bad jokes, and oh God, that really is me in a nutshell. Either way, check me out right here on the Edge of Liberty every Monday and Friday, 12 Pacific, 3 on the East, on the SHR Media Network.
Freedom. One nation in all of human history was built on that bedrock. Ours. A republic of the people, by the people, and for the people. Self-government requires freedom, just as freedom requires an individual willingness to self-govern. Freedom has made America exceptional, but it can only last as long as you and I seek the good, as expressed by the laws of nature and nature's God. It can only last if you and I choose to act as people of character. Forging character has been the pursuit of Hillsdale College since 1844.
Are you looking for a way to boldly express your faith and love for your country? And check out Seven Armors, the premier apparel company for patriotic men of God, where faith meets freedom in style. Our t-shirts are more than just clothing, they're statements. Bold, stylish, and meaningful. From timeless messages to modern designs, we've got something for every patriotic man of God. Wear your beliefs proudly with 7 Armors gear. Don't miss the chance to wear your faith and freedom on your sleeve. Visit 7armors.com today and join the movement. That's the number 7armors.com. 7armors.com. Faithful, vigilant, steadfast, passion.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And welcome back to the Saloon. I'm BZ. You're not. Thanks for being here. 30 people watching live right now. I appreciate that. Being streamed on KLRN, Twitch, the SHR Media YouTube channel. Now, things may have changed. I bigfooted Big E's show this morning, and I noticed that instead of prior to this morning, we needed 68 more subscriptions for me to get my vodka. That's of primary import right now. You know, to unlock the algorithms and let SHR more essentially breathe freedom and be safe from evil algorithms. Once you break the 500 subscription point, for whatever reason, YouTube seems to have a little bit more sympathy of you. See, that's not that important to me because I know that if we go over 500, I get more fucking vodka. Okay? Listen, what do you think is in here right now? My KC 135 Kettle One refueling team, and that's a great mug. Can't get one because I only have one. Sorry, it's mine. It belongs to me. So this morning, there were 68 subscriptions required to get to 500. Now, a little bit later during Earl's show, we're down to 66. 2 more people subscribe to the channel. So if you would subscribe, we only need 66 more people to get to the magic mark. And, well, you know how that goes. So thanks for being here tonight. I greatly appreciate it. We're talking about Ukraine. First, I said Demorats are crazy. Then I said Europe is crazy. Then somebody in chat, I think it was Sean, said something similar to, wait, isn't there something going on next? And yeah, U.S. says Zelensky has agreed to sign the mineral deal. We'll see if he follows through. He agreed to that, and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff told reporters on Thursday, that's today, well, it is 9:07 Pacific, 11:07 Central, and it's 12:07 Eastern, so that's tomorrow. So when I say today, and in Bolivia, it's 1749.723, drawer 3, paragraph 4, growth cluster 2, but I never did understand Bolivian time. So, yeah, apparently there's an agreement, but the big takeaway from this is let's see how long that agreement lasts, if it lasts at all. And again, as I indicated before, the Financial Times, and we all know all the lucre that's involved from the United States are these shit sticks right here. Are they willing to tell their people that you got to trim your welfare state? You got to trim for this guy right here. Do you envision that that's going to go well, that that's going to play well? I'm not really sure. So, Emmanuel Macron said, how did I say that? Macron. Anyway, he says Europe has to be ready to defend Ukraine. And then a little bit later on today, this was interesting. SHR has its own little chat, its own little X feed where the 4 of us that are members of SHR get together and we laugh and poke fun at each other. And then occasionally we ship stuff that I found this interesting. Now, Italy's Maloney, and you tell me how stupid this is, but this is the extent to which Europe is nuts and they're willing to accommodate Ukraine. Maloney, Prime Minister Giorgia Maloney said Ukraine should be granted the security of NATO without actual membership in the military alliance. Well, if you're not a member of NATO, then Article 5 won't apply to you. And how much did it take of any kind of a sacrifice to say or suggest that? The answer is zero. None. But they're all realizing, they're finally coming to terms with the fact that the lovely little luxuriant days of the U.S. propping up the EU and NATO are mostly over at this point. At the same time, like I indicated, the EU calls us barbarians and idiots. They crowed all over the place about their wonderful safety nets and security and social programs they had that we didn't. All purchased by the American taxpayer. And about this time, I'm saying, and I'm guessing a lot of other people are suggesting, you know what, pay for your own fucking defense. It shouldn't be hard to figure out. In the meantime, wait, there's more. Let's add China to the stage, because the Chinese are saying, we're ready for any kind of war with the U.S., be it a trade war, tariff war, or war. All brought on by weakness from Biden. Weakness emboldens bad actors. Demorats still don't get it. Oh my God. This is glorious. I rub my hands together in anticipation because it looks as though we may actually get to some happy stories tonight. Here are some serious stories that we're going to consider just for a moment. I don't know if you guys do, if you have a show, if you consider where it is that you drive traffic for your show. I am uninterested in driving traffic to ABC, NBC, CBS, or to the Times or WAPO or any of that crap. Breitbart was primarily eliminated through Google some years ago. Say what you will about Breitbart. If there's an article that's logical, I'll try to go to Breitbart because I would much rather drive traffic there than to, say, for example, the Drudge Report or CNN et al. But this is what we knew was common sense. And so when an article comes out like this, and you look at the headlines and read the text, and the first thing you say is, okay, what moron didn't know this? That people who are interested in transgender surgery are those people who are not mentally stable in the first place, or if they're children, they're living in an environment that is way mentally unstable. And especially if there's a crazy leftist white chick in the house who had a boy, the first thing that she's going to do, having lamented the fact that she got a boy and she didn't get a girl, is try to transition the kid into a girl. But you all knew that. Huge study says transgender surgery doubles depression rates. What prompts suicidal ideation? Well, that wouldn't be depression rates, would it? Read the article. By the way, I should state this. When I'm through, I post all my shows on a couple of places. You can read all my show links when you go to Rumble, the SHR Media channel on Rumble. And if you look at this show after it posts and gets itself all together, then you can read all these links. I have all these links, all the links ready in SHR Rumble under BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. Also at bloviatingzeppelin.net, I repost all my shows there too, including all my links. None of them are missing. Hence, no Sasquatch. But I post all my stuff there. So if you missed something in translation, you can go to one or both of those places and find the stories that I happen to be talking about, which are primarily, they're all common sense. Here's another one that few people mentioned. There's a guy named Hassan Piker. Now, a lot of these names for all these little kids and all these stupid squids that are influencers or whatever the fuck they are, because I don't really care. But these guys, like this one, make a hypothetical about killing Senator Rick Scott. So Twitch, now I have never been to Twitch because mostly I don't give a shit about Twitch. And I guess there are massive leftists there who used to, frankly, to be honest, I'm always going to be honest. I've never been to Twitch. I'll probably never get to Twitch. I think we still stream there. Don't know. Honestly, don't really care. It's a repository of leftists. And if SHR wants to still stream there, that's fine. Couldn't care less. Twitch has temporarily banned a guy named Hassan Piker for a 5th time past Monday, shortly after the leftist streamer talked about how if Republicans really cared about Medicaid, they would just go ahead and kill Florida Senator Rick Scott. Again, who are all the leftists? Who are all the violent individuals? Leftists. It's not on the right. It's not on the conservatives. It's not on the conservatarians. It's not on all, white supremacists. And then this guy, former NIH director Francis Collins, retires from the agency after documents previously revealed he lied about his involvement with gain-of-function research in the Wuhan lab. RFK Jr. Hello? Do you hear this? Do you see this? You know, people the world over, or at least the U.S. over, are saying, investigate, investigate, investigate. It's about time we see some people prosecuted criminally. Now, don't get your hopes up too much, kids. But why are these people fleeing like rats? Well, because they are rats, and because they're liars, and because they jeopardized essentially the population, most of the population of the United States. Here's something that I guess I shouldn't be surprised about, but this is illustrative of how deep and low the Biden administration went. From the New York Post. This came out yesterday. Stranded astronaut confirms Biden shot down Musk's offer to bring pair home. Absolutely factual. And this you should place in the category of what the fuck? You jeopardize Americans in space because Boeing's equipment crapped out. Musk had the opportunity with flanges that would fit because he had to find out the dimensions for all of that. One of the NASA astronauts trapped on the International Space Station said he believes Elon Musk's claim that the Biden administration rejected SpaceX's CEO offer to help bring the team home. A guy named Barry Butch Wilmore made the comment Tuesday during an in-orbit press conference with fellow castaways Sunita Williams, 9 months after their Boeing Starliner capsule malfunctioned and left the pair stuck on the ISS. I speak leftist, so I'll translate. Biden was not going to give a win to Elon Musk because he's been associated with Donald John Trump, OMB, Orange Man Bad, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head. But jeopardizing the safety of people in space, not the slightest whit of a consideration.
The corruption
how
inside Congress.
Abjectly
How concerned
criminal can you get? And by the way, if you were thinking that I'm lining up a video at this point, yes, I am. When I'm talking about corruption, how corrupt is Congress? Sean Ryan has a guest. Let's listen.
are you guys with your communications to each other, your colleagues, me,
Very concerned.
I think everything I do and say is tracked. They gave me a cell phone when I first got to Congress. I said, I don't want it. Yeah.
They gave you a cell phone.
They gave us all a cell phone. They gave everybody a cell phone. But the real corruption in Congress is in the structure. Literally, we've had committee chairmen that have written a personal check and been made chairman of committees. Personal check. I've said this many times that if the NFL was Congress, Peyton Manning would still be waiting to get in.
Wow.
It's not about putting the best player in.
The corruption.
It isn't. Here's a little story that I may have told you before. A few years ago, not necessarily in a galaxy that far away, because I was living in California, always spelled with a K at the time. The SHR Media Group, Sean, Clint, myself, went to Freedom Fest. I think this was 2017, if I'm not mistaken. And we spoke and had Thomas Massey on the air at SHR, a new representative from Kentucky. And he essentially told us to the sides of our heads that went directly into our ossicles, something that I was shocked about. And that's Thomas Massey said, if you want to get on certain committees, you're going to have to pony up. He's a Republican. So if he wanted to be on committees, he would have to pony up to the Republicans, to the RNC, in order to get appointed or allowed to go into certain committees. You could buy your way in. Again, continuing crap, affirming that it's all corruption. And folks, how much longer are you going to be tolerant? I came across this today. It doesn't necessarily have that much directly to do with politics, but it has to do with what's right. And it has to do, poor insurance companies, because, historically, I haven't thought evil of insurance companies that much. I seldom have used insurance, health insurance. But here we go. Listen to this.
Batshit crazy video that proves just how insane the American healthcare system is, as this guy, a California resident, calls up his insurance company to discuss a bill for an ambulance ride, learning that the bill went up after they found out he was insured.
I think there's a mistake
Not
on the
kidding.
bill, but maybe you could help me out. We got a bill, and then we realized that you guys didn't have our insurance, so we sent you the insurance, and it looks like the bill went up.
It went up?
Yeah, the first bill we got without the insurance was $600, and then the second one was almost $1,300.
Okay. Yeah, so that the first invoice you received, that's a discount that you receive if you're uninsured. So you're not eligible for the discount since you are insured. And so the bill was $2,342.14. We billed your insurance. Your insurance only paid $1,078.85.
Process that.
Can I go back to the discount without the insurance?
No.
So you're insured, so you're not eligible for the discount.
Okay, that's crazy land thinking. That's crazy land. How many people have dealt with insurance? Well, I know for one that Rocky Stucci, who was here in the show about 3 weeks ago, had circumstances dealing with insurance. Continue.
If I go cancel my insurance, am I eligible for the discount?
No, sir, because we checked eligibility and you do have active coverage for data service.
Oh, I needed to cancel it before I got the service. Okay, so I'll get cheaper health care if I'm uninsured.
If you're uninsured, you're eligible for the discount, correct?
So who's paying for all this? If you're not insured, who's paying? Ask yourself again, Jesus Christ, cui bono? Demorats are nuts. Europe is nuts. We are frequently nuts, and we're corrupt as shit. On the other hand, you're paying for everyone that isn't insured. So your bill, you lucky bastard or bastardette, your bill goes up. maybe we can place that in the woohoo category. So apparently, this is the newest that I've been able to find. Tariffs are changing.
So we talked to Canada and Mexico and said, look, you got to close the border and you got to end this illegal immigration. It's enough is enough. If you respect us as your best trading partner, end it. And you've got to end fentanyl. And the way we're going to describe fentanyl is very simple. Autopsied American deaths. They got to end. They just got to end. I don't want to hear you talk about it. I want Americans to stop being murdered by opioids and fentanyl. And so they did a nice job on the border to start, but the fentanyl deaths are just not declining in the way we expected. So what do you think the president's going to do? He's going to come out today angry that Americans are still being killed. Now, both the Mexicans and the Canadians were on the phone with me all day today trying to show that they'll do better. And the president's listening because he's very, very fair and very reasonable. So I think he's going to work something out with them. It's not going to be a pause, none of that pause stuff. But I think he's going to figure out, you do more, and I'll meet you in the middle some way. And we're going to probably be announcing that tomorrow. So somewhere in the middle will likely be the outcome. The president moving with the Canadians and Mexicans, but not all the way.
So what have I said? You guys, okay. Let me recraft my statement. You guys, other than us, we know how Trump works. Tariffs, the world is falling. Fuck. No, it's not. Tariffs are a tool. Everything Donald Trump does in terms of negotiations is a tool. The world is not ending. Give the guy a break. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the planet. Oh my God. 5 minutes before the bottom of the hour. Whew. I know. Pretty amazing. What? Juniper? What do you hear?
It's time for happy stories and good times.
And is it ever? Listen.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
This was just awesome.
We won the popular vote by big numbers and won counties in our country on a map that reads almost completely red for Republican.
Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the Sergeant at Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber.
And once again, I look at the Democrats in front of me, and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do.
Okay, let me stop right here because I'm looking at Rumble Chat and I'm looking here. Some of the people in Rumble Chat are saying they can't see the video. Can you guys, where you are right now, can you see the video about Trump? Are you hearing it and are you seeing it? Please let me know in chat. I'm going to continue.
If I could find a cure to the most devastating disease, and these people sitting right here will not clap, will not stand, and certainly will not cheer for these astronomical achievements. They won't do it, no matter what. 5 times I've been up here. It's very sad, and it just shouldn't be this way. With no end in sight, the United States has...
Okay, let me stop right here. StreamYard did something new to me today. It created what it calls a demo scene. And I've done everything that I possibly can to get the videos here. I can see it here, but the new update with StreamYard apparently is not allowing people to see the video. And so I'm going to have to figure out what the hell is happening because StreamYard has changed shit on me just because they like to change shit. Not happy. So let me ask you guys this. Have you seen any of the videos that I have played since the show began? Any of them at all? Because I'm going to have to try to winnow down and figure out, did you see anything? How did that happen? Why not? Obviously, you can hear the audio. I can see it on my end. Now I got to figure out why. Why you can't see it on your end. So from now until the rest of the show, I guess I'm just going to have to, you're going to hear the audio. I'm going to have to figure out what the fuck happened to the video.
Sent hundreds of billions of dollars to support Ukraine's defense with no security, with no anything. Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years? Yeah, you would say Pocahontas says yes. We've ended weaponized government where, as an example, a sitting president is allowed to viciously prosecute his political opponent, like me. How did that work out? Not too good. The media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president. And tonight, DJ, we're going to do you the biggest honor of them all. I am asking our new Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service.
Okay. Apparently, StreamYard has, in fact, changed some things on me. I may have discovered where I need to go next, and I apologize for not recognizing that I can only click certain of the other scenes down below here. I know it's technical and you don't really give a crap. Let me see if I can get this to play again. Because another happy story is Newsom is apparently catching a hell of a lot of flack. And I'm looking at the replay to see if now this isn't going up there. Why not? Let's see if this goes. Or this. Okay. I'm not getting the concept between the two, but in any event, Newsom is getting a bunch of flack because now he has regressed from his progressive policy and is catching hell from progressives. Okay, let's take a break. I'm a little unhappy right now. I'll be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Welcome to River of Common Sense, where we cut through the noise of news and politics with a sharp wit and clear discussion. Tune in every Monday and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a refreshing dose of reality as we fearlessly tackle a tough topic with no nonsense, just pure common sense. Visit shrmedia.com to discover where you can catch River of Common Sense in action. He's here to amplify your inner logic. He may not always be polite, he may not always be refined, but one thing's for sure, he always tells it like it is.
Independence. With that declaration, America was born. Inspired by a belief in the God-given rights of every human being, and in the good that comes from exercising these rights well. The founders of our great nation chose independence. As do we. Hillsdale College accepts no government funding. because independence makes possible the good to which we aspire.
Attention, all patriotic women of faith. Yep, I'm talking to you, sis. Are you looking for high-quality, super soft apparel that reflects your love for country and your devotion to God? Look no further than Carry Girl Gear. Picture this. You rocking a tee so soft it's like being hugged by a cloud, all while showing off your love for God and country. Sounds dreamy, right? Well, welcome to reality, babes, because that's what we're all about here at Carry Girl Gear. We specialize in super soft tees, tanks, and more, designed specifically for the strong, patriotic woman who proudly wants to carry their message of faith and freedom. When you shop with us, you're not just getting a t-shirt. You're joining a community of like-minded women who are proud to wear their beliefs straight on their tees. So whether you're sipping sweet tea on the porch or leading the charge for faith and freedom, do it in a Carry Girl tee. Because life's too short for stiff, boring tees. CarryGirl.com, where faith and freedom meets fashion.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back. I'm back. I am BZ. Trying to figure out how to get my StreamYard working. Thanks to everyone for being here tonight. I greatly appreciate it. I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board to figure out why it is that you're occasionally seeing the videos, mostly not. I have not been able to process that and put that together yet. In any matter, I thank you for being here tonight. I hope this doesn't affect you and make you think ill of me. Because, well, I've said any number of times, I hate technology. I'm a techno-Luddite. And I don't change and I don't adapt very well. And I'm not quite the techno-Luddite that Sackhead Clint was back in 21, I think, is when the Shat show ended and Clint could not reappear. But let's see if these things can be made to come to the screen. Now, I'm playing over here. That is not going. How about now? Let's see if this is going. Because there's a delay. I'm looking from here and I'm looking over to Rumble and I don't. So, okay, so there it is. What about this? No. What about this? Let's see if this, maybe I have to go to one screen to get back to the other. Okay, why won't it do that? Well, screw it. I'm interrupting the show and your enjoyment of happy stories. This is a happy story. San Francisco-based federal workers were ordered back to the office. Then half of them were laid off. You know, it's like I said in social media, this is something like the Grail Knight in terms of choose wisely. You knew what Trump was when you voted for him, and now everyone is saying, you voted for Orange Man Bad and he's slaughtering you. No, he's saving the bulk of the American taxpayers. This is another happy story. DC appellate panel reverses injunction, allows Trump to fire special counsel. Oh, now it took. Okay. Jeez, oh, pizza. Boy, I oughta. To the moon, Alice. Seems even the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals has noticed that the Article 3 branch doesn't have authority to tell the Article 2 branch who to hire and fire. And it looks if I want to keep this on the screen, I'm just going to have to go from one to the other. Here's another happy story. ABC News to lay off dozens, merge Good Morning America and Good Morning America 3, and kill the 538 data site, which I'm not sure what that was, but I do know that 538, if it's through any of these people, had to be a massive leftist site. So let's give accolades where accolades are due. Thanks, ABC, for kicking these people to the curb. ABC News staffers began packing up their desks Wednesday amid layoffs as the Embattled Network restructured its programming that include merging 2020 and Nightline and consolidating its Good Morning America productions. Now, why do you think that this has been happening? Could it be because the folks, the citizens of the United States, have discovered that the American media maggots haven't been telling the truth for quite some time, that they are fake news, and they're bleeding subscribers, and they're bleeding advertisers, and they're hemorrhaging viewers? Isn't that glorious? Another happy story. Canadians are fed up, said Alberta lawyer leading delegation to Washington for statehood talks. You would never believe these things. Absent Donald Trump, if you were to say that someone from Canada, from Alberta, I'm in Idaho. I did live in Ohio. I'm in Idaho. And directly above me is Alberta. Alberta is essentially the breadbasket and the petroleum tranche of all of Canada. And as a result, Alberta is kind of mostly conservative, a hell of a lot more than the eastern portion of Canada. A Canadian lawyer is leading efforts to explore the possibility of Alberta joining the U.S. as President Trump continues to push for closer ties with Canada's energy-rich province, no shit, Sherlock, because that's where the Keystone XL pipeline was originating. Canada wanted during Biden and during Trump, they just didn't get to the point where it was ready yet. From Alberta, the Keystone XL pipeline was going to go through down south, through a number of states and down to the chemical coast for all the refineries. That area is in fact called the Chemical Coast down near Texas. And the Gulf of America. Thank you very much. I'll be here all night. So beginning with trolling, this has turned into something that is starting to acquire a bit of a life of its own.
The new leader of the U.S. Small Business Administration is working to pull regional.
This is a happy story. The SBA, Small Business Administration, is telling regional offices, smaller offices, to exit sanctuary cities like Denver. OMG, if that isn't a happy story, I don't know what is.
Offices out of so-called sanctuary cities, and that could mean the office here in Denver.
Denver 7's Ali Jenner-John is joining us live now. And how could all of this play out in Colorado?
Well, the memo.
Let's go back to some of the comments. Cheetah, welcome to chat. Legacy MSM is just about over, and I am all the more glad for it. I completely concur with that. How can they make any money with their limited viewership? Well, here's limited viewership. I have 2 new channels. I've had them now for about almost 6 months. One of them is the Tibetan throat singing channel, and the other one is the parakeet training channel. And each of those channels is acquiring more viewers than CNN and MSNBC combined. Continue.
Does not list those exact locations things could be moved to. We do know that the regional office here in Denver doesn't just cover Colorado, but also 5 other surrounding states. What the memo does say is offices currently based in sanctuary cities will be moved to areas that Loeffler refers to as less costly, more accessible, and in communities that, quote, comply with federal immigration law.
And there you have it. If there is no compliance with federal law, why should we give one whit or shit about you? And the answer is we don't, I don't, and no one should. That seems pretty obvious. That's a damn happy story. Here's another happy story. This is regard to Hamas. This is from President Trump, issued from Truth Social. Shalom Hamas means hello and goodbye. You can choose. Release all of the hostages now, not later, and immediately return all of the dead bodies of the people you murdered, or it is over for you. Only sick and twisted people keep bodies, and you are sick and twisted. I am sending Israel everything it needs to finish the job. Not a single Hamas member will be safe if you don't do as I say. This is how a leader speaks. This is how a strong leader takes charge. Demorats are not strong. Their women are stronger than their men. Their men are pussified. I'll say that all day long. This is your last warning. For the leadership, now is the time to leave Gaza while you still have a chance. Also, to the people of Gaza, a beautiful future awaits, but not if you hold hostages. If you do, you are dead. Make a smart decision, release the hostages now, or there will be hell to pay later. Donald Trump has said essentially, you know what? Whatever Israel wants, I'm going to give it to him. My guess would be supplies, money, material, who knows? And then, see, so many people have changed. And this is nothing but a good thing. Donald John Trump got more blacks, minorities, Hispanics, etc., this last election than I think any other Republican in history. And it's because of the Demorats. They have all shot themselves in the foot. Demorats are nuts. Europe is nuts. Now we're encountering happy stories. Joe Behar didn't really like what I think this is Steve, I can't think of the guy's last name, Steve Smith. What he replied and what he said. Steve, take it away.
It's only been in office for 6 weeks. Seems like 6 years, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. And he's been going around with his cronies touting his so-called landslide and blowout win. But he won the popular vote by 1.5%, one of the smallest ever. And he won the general election by less than 50%. So what kind of mandate is this really?
Well, it is a mandate, and I'm going to explain why. And I don't mind the question, but let me be very clear. I'm no supporter of Trump. I'm a supporter of truth and the facts. And here's the facts. The man won every swing state. He increased in terms of his voter turnout in his favor from the standpoint of blacks, Latinos, and young voters. He increased his numbers in that regard from 2020. 89% of the counties shifted to the right. That's a mandate. We can sit up there and play around all we want to. In 2020, Trump didn't win the popular vote. He didn't win the electoral college vote. A matter of fact, the Republicans hadn't won the popular vote, if I remember correctly, since 2004. But they did this year. So 20 years after they last won the popular vote, they won the popular vote. They won the electoral college vote. The man won every swing state. And on top of it all, 89% of the counties shifted against. I don't understand how people can look at that and say, there's no.
Do you see anybody on this panel telling him to fuck off, or you're wrong, or you're incorrect, or you don't have the facts, or you don't know what you're talking about? I hear silence.
No mandate. There's a mandate.
What's a different definition of a mandate, I guess?
But the problem is that if you're the Democratic Party and you lost 49.8% to 48.3%, and you're looking at that 1.5% dip, that's an excuse for you to say, what we did really wasn't that bad.
Some people didn't
we should continue to do that. No, don't continue to do that. Find a new strategy.
It's only been.
Find a new strategy. Yeah, that's a happy story. You know, how dare he talk that way to the people of The View? This is another happy story. I'm kind of hedging my bet on this. Canada moves ahead with listing cartels as terrorist entities in a crackdown. Okay. But stop. Take this all into consideration. You know for a fact none of this would have happened. No designation of cartels, no concern whatsoever about the border. It would be wide open. The fentanyl would still be coming down. Think of it this way, think like a cartel member. If it's another BZ if then equation. If the southern border is now a bitch kitty to move stuff through, and it appears to be more so, to the point where cartels are now attempting to mimic U.S. BP trucks and official trucks to move their stuff from south to north. So if the southern border is a choke point, what isn't yet? North. Now, it's inconvenient as shit to move your drugs and your precursor chemicals up to Canada. But it can be done. It'll be a little bit more costly, but it can be done. So when you seal the southern border, if you don't attend to the northern border, Canada, then bad things are going to happen. So I'm a little concerned about Canada. Great to see that. I want to continue to see follow through. Now, here's another. God, I love this. If you haven't followed the plight of the poor trod upon Tiffany Henyard and what was it? The town Dalton. This bint stripped Bolton of funds, acted like a moron, was a complete imbecile and a racist, I should say. And finally, the people of Dalton have had it. They kicked her stupid ass out. However, right after that occurred, here's the happy story part. Feds subpoena Dalton and Illinois records tied to ousted Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard's boyfriend. Oh, there may be hell to pay or in Paltor pay. This is another good one. What do I got? 10 minutes? I will be able to get through a good portion of these, I believe. Happy stories tonight. I've so wanted to get to these. Trump signs executive order making English the official language of the United States. Again, why did it take Trump to do this? Presidents have said over the years, I'll get around to that. And all of the I'll get around to that is being gotten around to under Trump. Again, a great story, a happy story. There's a reason, folks, Demorats don't know this. All the air controllers in the world decided multiple decades ago that the universal language of air controllers, pilots, and flights would be English. Apparently, the United States hates English. The UK hates English until we get somebody that says something similar to what Michael Savage has been saying for a long time. Borders, language, culture. Michael Savage has a pretty good message. He's one of the world's shittiest, stupid, idiot messengers. But borders, language, and culture, that should resonate. Now we finally got the language part. We're trying to get the borders part. The culture, it's going to be kind of tough. This was so wonderful. Oh my God, this was so packed with buttery political goodness. Head of the FBI in New York forcibly resigns in latest shakeup at the Bureau under the Trump administration. Now, some of the people in conservative podcasts have said, Bondi, why did you make promises and then you didn't extract your promises, and where was your follow through? And what I've attempted to say is, hang on. Let's not be silly, stupid, and fattening just yet. Let's give Bondi and Patel the ability and the wherewithal to try to figure all this crazy stuff out, because no one has tried to suss out the deep state in the FBI and the DOJ, because everyone prior loved it. And now you have to try to figure out who are the true underminers. Well, they found, wrong way. Well, they found one right here. James Dennehy. He was a, quote, well-regarded leader. This is from Eyewitness News, by the way, in New York. So that's why he is a well-regarded leader in the New York law enforcement community who also served in the U.S. Marine Corps. I don't give a shit about that. He was an underminer for the FBI, and everything upon him was politically biased. The FBI is nothing more than the weaponized arm of the DNC and leftist, a corrupt anti-American organization. And only now is it, since Mueller took it way over the top. Then Comey, then Ray. Kash Patel has such a huge job in front of him. Well, this is a happy story because things are starting to occur. So let's not go completely crazy just yet, because Bondi hasn't proffered all of the Epstein papers just yet. This fuckstick, James Dennehy, was one of the ones that was obscuring and obstructing the release of said paperwork. He's out of the way. There are many more assholes to go besides him. Here's another happy story. Major Panama Canal ports are now under American control. This is from Trending Politics. The inside information to this is, stop. China's economy is bad. And China controlled 2 ports at the far, let's see, let me orient my map in my brain, at the northern portion and the southern portion. And it turns out a couple of ports in between, which they sold. Well, to whom did they sell? Who has the wherewithal and the cash to be able to buy this? Well, if you said BlackRock, you'd be correct. However, would you rather have one of the biggest choke points on the entire planet under control of BlackRock or the Communist Chinese? I think at this point, I'd rather have BlackRock. So I quantified that as a happy story as well. And since I'm not going to go out of this, because who knows how my video stuff is going. It just gets better. Trump set to announce a $100 billion investment from a Taiwanese company. An investment into the U.S., a chip manufacturer, is going to invest $100 billion in the United States. A White House official confirmed this report to Breitbart News. Now, what's one of the major motivations of the Chinese to take Taiwan, other than the fact that Taiwan has been officially recognized? And Taiwan, like Russia and Putin, Taiwan wants to get the band back together. Will they be able to get the band back together? Now, let me go back a little bit. I wonder how much the dig-in Dennehy destroyed of the Epstein files. That's an excellent question. I'm not sure we will ever know. The Southern District of New York had them. Why? They knew about him and Comey's daughter in the Southern District of New York as well. Yes, they did. Now, Cheetah indicates, I'm on the fence with Bondi at this point. I respect her a lot, but she's become more of a political animal than a top prosecutor over the years. Okay. Let's give her a chance, because she's fighting things that let me make an analysis or a comparison. Now, let me go to the second one here. The FBI under Kash raiding the FBI in office, etc. And Jeremy Hansen says, didn't he also lose Biden's laptop? I wish I could tell you. I don't know. Will we ever know? I honestly don't know that. Well, Cheetah said, we need the FBI to raid the FBI. And I said in reply to that last week, what do you do then if leftists don't comply? Make no mistake, a good portion of the FBI, at least up on the 7th floor and down by 6, is comprised of leftists. So what happens if you don't get what you want? For example, what do? Do you send in FBI's own HRT to get that? Do you send in the 101st Airborne to get that? It hasn't yet gotten to that point. But what happens If. All good questions. In any event, go back to Taiwan. If Taiwan manages to, for itself, offshore a good portion of chip manufacturing into the United States, does that not make Taiwan not exactly the biggest target that they were before? Because China would love to snag and snatch their massive chip making capabilities, which unfortunately we ceded to China some time ago. But if they come here, they're not going to be touched. Certainly not in the United States. So I'm kind of in a wait and see dog paddling status at this point. Here's another one. There's another happy story. Honda moving the Civic production from Mexico to Indiana because of tariffs. Tariffs are a tool. Donald Trump is using tariffs as a tool. So when everyone is breastbeating and people are saying, oh, Bondi isn't worth a shit, stop. Just stop. Give people a chance. It's not even 2 months. Now, if it turns out that they're abject losers, okay, fine, do as you will. And Trump primarily will. I don't think we have any doubt about that. But before we go over the top, let's try to make sure that we have a pretty good idea as to what's happening and where and for what reasons. Oh my God, there's some mistake. I actually got through some, but not all, of my happy stories. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for listening to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. I am the aforementioned BZ, live and direct from the SHR, the Northern SHR Media studio, on Rumble, on the SHR Media YouTube channel, on the SHR Media group on Rumble, on X, at KLRN, Rick Robertson's live, great KLRN. They're grabbing the numbers, but they're not grabbing us in the glottis, so I'm super glad about that. And folks, I also want to let you know that as per normal, this hasn't changed. My technology has apparently screwed me over, but this hasn't. Promotional consideration by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, Shure, and Electro Voice microphones. These are the dudes that make my board. Also, kudos to Pratt & Whitney engines, making dependable engines thrust you can trust. Tiaras are by My Little Pony. And also, I want to thank my personal KC-135 Kettle One refueling team, with whom I shall be consorting in less than about 10 minutes, just a couple of feet that way. Thanks for listening live. Thanks for listening in podcast. God bless. Take care. Be safe.
Get some sleep. Good night, everybody. Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben. Good night, everyone. Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy. Good night, children. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth. Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob. What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing? Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, and good luck.